today we have Beth Ann Mathews.
Most of you know a little bit about my book, and I think I will just, I'm going to read 3 very short sections to give you some flavor of the story, and then we'll have time for questions, and I really want this to be question-driven. When this book opens, my husband and I had been living in Alaska for about 20 years. Our son was 9. As Leo mentioned, I was a professor at the university. I really liked my job. My husband is a marine scientist, and he's a very healthy, fit guy. To give you an idea, the winter before page 1 on this book, he rode his bike to work in the winter in Alaska with studded tires and then special booties to keep the snow from shoving up his pant leg. So that's just the kind of guy he is. And we also owned a sailboat. The thing tonight, the title of the book is Deep Waters, and the subtitle is A Memoir of Loss, Alaska Adventure, and Love Rekindled. And so what I did is I chose 3 very short scenes that highlight loss, Alaska adventure, and love rekindled. Everybody is balance impaired, and there are handholds all over. So I gave in there, but I did argue, and I said, okay, only if the weather is really good. So we did. So we went to one of our favorite places, 80 miles south of Juneau. It's called Taku Harbor, but really it's an abandoned cove. It used to be a cannery. And it's a favorite getaway for a lot of people in Juneau. There's a dock there, but there's usually no one there. He whispered, 40 minutes. And that's With that, I would like to open this up to questions. So I really would like to answer any of your questions, either about the story or the writing process or whatever. Yes.
I'm just curious about what type of stroke did he have?
He had a lateral medullary stroke, which is in his case, the left vertebral artery, and it was not caused by a clot or plaque. That artery makes an S turn when it goes from your neck into your head, and it's not really designed to be bent. And it was caused by painting and scraping our skylight. So he was on a ladder the day before. You're doing this sort of thing. We were getting ready to sell our house, and so he went from bringing me coffee that morning to choking and gasping, and basically the blood vessel delaminated on the inside, so just a flap of blood vessel on the inside. It went from normal blood flow to no blood flow.
Wow.
So it's very, and they're rare. One of the most common causes of them is painting ceilings. Plumbers tend to get them more.
Wow.
There aren't I haven't done my research recently, but there probably are predisposing factors, but I think it's rare enough that maybe they're not known. But that scene with David got him to Seattle very fast, and I really think we have a better outcome because of that. So, yeah, yes.
Maybe more a question for Jim than you.
He has made it clear he doesn't want to answer questions.
Okay. So maybe there's a main character in this memoir,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just wondering how vulnerable he might feel having this book.
I do think that's true. I want to say, though, that my husband has never censored me from writing. I did ask him to ultimately he read the whole book, but not as I was writing every chapter. Certain chapters I interviewed him about to make sure I got his viewpoint as best I could. But I'm very honored to be his partner, and I think he's a very brave man because I do present both of us not at our best, and I think that's what makes the you don't just hear about when we were doing everything right, and that goes for me, and of course Jim's struggle to recover. But really, he's a capital H hero in the book. So ultimately, and he's a hero in my mind always, because he's just supported me to write, and never said you can't say that, or you can't. I mean, he might say, well, here's actually how it was, and he's always right. So, I mean, I'm okay with that. Actually, I didn't say that quite right. He adds a lot. His voice, his hearing, his side of a situation adds depth that I couldn't make it up or something. But and he's a good editor, so I'm really glad that he was willing to go on this journey with me.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question. Another question. Yes, Cheryl.
I don't really have a question per se, but I was so impressed with your son. For 9 years old and everything that was going on, I thought he was a hero, because it's really difficult when you're dealing with a medical crisis on everyone in the family. I was just so inspired by him. I just wanted
Thank you. He couldn't be here tonight, and he wanted to be here. He was only 9, but so Jim and I had our son late in life. He and I were really close, and he's really close with his dad. And he really wanted to be on the medevac jet with us going to Seattle, which I didn't think would be allowed. But I do think there was some strain on our son for that, and I will never know if I made the right decision, but it was a gamble I took. And since we're here and we're still sailing and doing things together, I'm going to feel okay about my decision. Yeah,
The segue to that is one of my favorite passages in the book was, I think he provided comic relief when he was eating salad in the room, and he was eating with his fingers, and he said, "Glenn, we don't eat salad with our fingers," and he proceeded to eat with his toes.
I do feel that my book is a love letter to Alaska. So we lived there 20 years. We loved it, being out in nature, doing research in Glacier Bay National Park. And so there is quite a bit of Alaska in here. Even in the chapters, that are in the hospital, there are flashbacks that take you there. I really enjoy writing about and sharing the spectacular natural history there, and a big part of our joy boating up in Alaska was, seeing humpback whales feeding and watching the phalaropes dance around their open mouths, and I hope enough for you, maybe not enough. But
That's quite a bit.
yeah, okay, I just got quite a bit, so yeah. Oh, yes.
Maybe this is a good last question. Are you working on the prequel?
The prequel, she knows. She knows. Well, I have another book. It's a full manuscript, and it starts 30 years before this. I haven't been working on it for about a year. I had to really set it aside to birth this book, but I can't wait to get back to it. And it will have similar themes: loss, adventure, and love. Those will be in there.
And more natural history.
And actually more natural history. It takes place during when I was fledgling. I had just gotten my undergraduate degree in marine science, and I was doing research on marine mammals, including sperm whales. Just a little project there, but that will be in there, and humpbacks and gray whales. But it's I would guess it probably won't be out for a year or two, or probably more likely 2, I would think. But thank you for asking. Yeah. All right, Marilyn, if you had one, did you have one?
I'd just like to know what your sort of daily or regular writing habits.
Sure. Yeah, I am a morning person. I like getting up ahead of everybody and I make my coffee and go in. But I found, right now I'm not in a critique group, but one of the things I like about critique groups is that I will often start the next morning looking at the edits, and it's like priming the pump. So I'll go through those, and then it'll kind of get me warmed back up into that scene. I also like to use music. I've discovered how important it is if I'm writing a scene, that has certain emotional, a place I need to be to write it. I will sometimes put on a song and go out and dance to it, and that helps me get back into it. So, I play a lot of sad songs. I mean, love, heartbreak stuff. But good to dance to. So. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I am just completely honored. Thank you very, very much.